I'm Carla. Back in 2013, I was a broke yoga teacher with a young kid and mounting debt. I had no idea that typing how to earn passive income into Google would completely transform my life. That's when I discovered Amazon KDP Publishing. 2 years later, at 39 years old, I launched Fiction Profits Academy. And today, we've helped over 15,000 students build income streams through Amazon Publishing. And we have a 4.9 star rating with over 2,000 reviews on Trustpilot. After 10 years in this business, I've learned that actually having a small budget forces you to build the right foundation first. Here's what she did so that you can just copy it. Section 1, the foundation. The lead magnet strategy. Most people jump straight to publishing books for sale, thinking they'll generate royalties faster. But without an established audience, how are you supposed to make those sales immediately? Without an audience, you're competing against authors who have thousands of readers who already know and follow their work. That's the exact problem that the lead magnet solves. Your lead magnet is a complete shorter book that readers can get in exchange for their email address. And by exchanging it for people's emails, you get to build a loyal fan base before you start publishing your books on Amazon KDP. This fan base then becomes your email list, also known as your newsletter list. That's why we say your lead magnet should be your first book. Here's how it works. You set up a simple landing page on BookFunnel. Readers opt in by giving their email address. They get a welcome email and their free book. And boom, they're on your email list. This book lives on BookFunnel forever, collecting readers and growing your email list 24/7. We recommend our students have their lead magnet at around 10,000 words. It can be more if you want, but don't do more than 25,000 words because you want to keep costs low while you're learning. Remember that your lead magnet is free, so it doesn't generate any direct revenue. Every extra dollar that you spend on making it longer is money that you could put towards your paid books instead. Plus, when you're starting out, you're still learning what resonates with readers. It's smarter to test your concept with a shorter, cheaper lead magnet first. And once you prove people want your content and you're seeing good email sign-up rates, then you can be confident going forward in your publishing that your future books will do well as well. The beauty of the system is that your lead magnet keeps working even while you sleep. You could wake up to 5, 10, or even 20 new email subscribers who downloaded your free book overnight. The 4-book sequence that builds momentum. The FPA system follows a specific sequence that our successful students follow. Book 1 is the lead magnet. It's 10,000 words. It's free on BookFunnel. Books 2 to 4 are books that are for sale. They're 25 to 30,000 words to start. Now, you might be wondering, why such short books? This is how you keep your costs as low as possible while learning the process. You see, Amazon pays us for the number of pages that people read. So as a publisher, you want to be producing longer books as you get better and learn the ins and outs of the business. But when you're just getting started, you want to keep your costs as low as possible. This is very important because you don't want to be investing money into unprofitable things. Take this time to learn the process first, and at this phase in your journey, your focus should be on getting better as you go. You can succeed with shorter books if you follow the right formula. Once you prove your concept works and you've hit all the success markers, this is when you can start investing in longer books. I'll explain why in just a moment. But building the foundation first with a smaller budget is the smart way to do it. When your budget is below $500, you don't want to make business decisions based on guesswork. You need every dollar to count. The lead magnet system forces you to build an audience first, which means you're validating if there's demand for your content before you invest in longer, more expensive books. Let me give you the timeline our coach followed so that you can see the big picture first. And then I'll break things down so you'll know how to replicate her results. Case study timeline and results. Lead magnet created and live on BookFunnel in November. First book for sale published December 15th. Second book published January. Third book published late January. Fourth book published February 9th. Total investment $1,400, so $350 for 4 books. Royalties, as early as February, she started seeing strong performance that exceeded her initial targets. Net return, her catalog quickly moved into positive territory above her investment. Daily performance, consistent daily royalties on regular days with notable spikes during launch periods. Top 100 rankings achieved in her category without any advertising spend. What made this even more impressive is that in the past, this coach had always run ads when doing book launches. She never did ongoing ad spending, but she'd always spent money on launch ads. But she didn't do that this time. So to see these numbers for books that were half the length with no ads at all, that's the power of following the system correctly. Since I'm still painting the big picture for you here, I want to briefly go over when we recommend you should actually launch. Your launch trigger is after your lead magnet is live and you've reached 1,500 to 2,000 email subscribers. This is when you're ready to plan your first paid book launch 30 days out. Why 30 days out? I'll explain the strategy behind this when I break down the actual launch strategy later. Anyway, we want to build 1,500 to 2,000 subscribers first because this gives you enough audience to make newsletter swaps work and recruit reviewers for your book. Newsletter swaps just means finding another author or publisher with a similar sized email list in your genre. You promote their book to your list and they promote your book to their list. It's a win-win that costs nothing but grows both of your audiences. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Don't worry, I'll explain the hows of newsletter swaps later. What's important to understand for now is not to rush this pre-launch foundational step. Wait until you have this foundation before launching your paid books, and I promise that patience will pay off. The idea behind this process is that once you complete the lead magnet, you'll understand the entire book creation process. Then once the lead magnet is complete, you simply rinse and repeat the same process month after month as you make longer books. But from book 2 onwards, you'll be publishing them on Amazon and generating royalties. Like anything in life, the first time you do this, some of it might feel challenging, but each time you do it, it gets easier and easier. But before you spend another dollar beyond your lead magnet, you need to validate your concept with real data. The next step is another one that I wish someone had taught me when I was just starting. Listen closely because this step can save you from wasting money on books that nobody wants. Section 2, the 30-day validation test. The next step is the validation process. This is important because it tells you whether or not to keep going with paid books. First, track how many people download your lead magnet. You want to see at least 50 downloads per month to know that you have a viable concept. Because if people aren't downloading your free book, they definitely won't buy your paid ones. This is why you should first work on getting your lead magnet to consistently hit this benchmark. And once you do, it'll give you the confidence to move to the next step, which is to monitor your email engagement. Your email open rates should be 25% or higher for fiction. If you're getting lower open rates, there's a disconnect between your lead magnet and your audience. You need to figure out what's wrong before publishing paid books. You'll also want to see if your email list is growing. Even if it's growing slowly, it should be consistent. In this case study, her emails were consistently getting opened above 25%, which meant she had an engaged audience. Another important step in our validation process is to ask your email list what they want to read next. This direct feedback should guide your topics for books that will generate revenue. Your audience will literally tell you what to write if you ask them. This is a continuous thing. You want to always understand what resonates with your readers so that you can replicate it over and over again. Use the feedback to choose your tropes and story concepts for your paid books. Now you might be thinking, okay, Carla, but what if I don't hit these milestones? When do I stop and reassess? Good question. These are the red flags to watch out for. First, the lead magnet is getting fewer than 10 downloads per month after 90 days. 2, the email open rates are consistently below 20%. And third, the email list isn't growing or engagement is dropping. And fourth, you are getting no clear feedback from your audience about what they want to read. If you see these warning signs, don't throw good money after bad. Figure out what's not working first before you invest more. Section 3, the $350 budget system and smart hiring. Now that you've validated your concept, here's exactly how to spend your money to get maximum results. Our coach's budget breakdown went like this. Writing, $250 per book. Cover design, $50. Editing, $50. For a total of $350 per book. Most beginners pay per word, but this coach negotiated differently from most beginners. Instead of paying per word, she negotiated a flat rate of 250 words per book with her writers. This gave her predictable costs and often got her better value than the typical 1 cent per word rate. Speaking of hiring, you need to understand that the ghostwriter landscape has changed dramatically in the past year. To protect your budget and avoid the new scams, we recommend hiring writers via Upwork, and then always use milestone payments on Upwork, never lump sums. Your first milestone should be small, $25 to $50 maximum. This covers a 250-word story summary, chapter by chapter outline, and the first 500 words of chapter 1. That way, if this milestone fails, then you've only lost $25 to $50, not your entire budget. We recommend you follow this milestone system to a T. Plus, never pay outside the platform, because when you pay outside Upwork, you lose all the protection if something goes wrong with your project. That's why we say it's an immediate red flag if a writer wants you to pay them directly through PayPal or any other method. Speaking of red flags, other red flags that can destroy your budget are 1. Writers offering AI-generated samples but claiming they're human-written. 2. Marketing packages that remove your creative control and cost extra money. 3. Prices significantly below our recommended range of 1 cent to 2 cents per word. That often indicates AI-generated content. And of course, if they miss deadlines. You can avoid all these traps by sticking to the FPA hiring guidelines and using the milestone protection method that I mentioned earlier. Also, make sure to read or listen to the work that they submit before releasing payment. You can use audio transcript tools like Speechify to review everything. Now, you can hire the perfect writer at the perfect price, but if you miss the next step, your book will still flop. This is where our quality control processes come in. Section 4, quality controls that protect your investment. To make sure you get the best results out of your writers, there are a few things that you have to do. When you hire writers, give them your tropes so that they can weave them strategically throughout the entire story and create the winning hooks and storylines that readers in your niche are actively searching for. A trope is any intriguing plot element, characteristic, visual cue, or story theme that makes the story shine. Some examples of theme-based tropes are the girl next door falls in love with her neighbor. Down on her luck, FBI agent finally solves a decade-old murder. Businesswoman hires a new assistant and they fall in love. Woman falls for a kinky billionaire. Character tropes are things like sexy fireman, billionaire, boss, single daddy, nanny, detective, or cop. I'll discuss tropes in more detail in the next section, but for now, what you need to know is that tropes guide everything. It guides your title, your cover design, your blurb, and what you tell your writer to create. You could give your writer the list of tropes and say, create a story around these, but that's not enough. Inside FPA, we tell our students not to just hand tropes to a writer and hope for the best. This is because tropes aren't just random story elements. They're strategic marketing weapons that must be purposefully woven throughout the story. And the writer needs clear direction on which specific tropes to include and how to incorporate them. This is why we created our FPA Story Template. This template ensures the writer creates exactly what you need while hitting all your tropes correctly. Our story template instructs the writer to provide you with things like 250-word story summary that clearly shows how all your tropes will work together, a chapter-by-chapter outline so you know exactly what happens in every scene, and the first 500 words of chapter 1 so that you can evaluate their writing style. This is how you work on a milestone basis. When you receive your first milestone, assess the work using our story template. If the writer didn't follow directions or the first 500 words didn't read well, you could cut your losses, pay the small milestone amount, and move on to another applicant. But if you're happy with the story summary, the chapter outline, and the first 500 words, then proceed with that writer to complete the full book. This works because you're not slowing down the writer with mid-project revisions, but you still get to track their progress and provide feedback at the end of the full draft. Now, something changed recently that could get your book rejected, or worse, get your entire account suspended if you're not careful. Most publishers have no idea about Amazon's new AI disclosure rules. Using AI while staying compliant in 2025. Amazon now requires you to disclose if you used AI tools in creating your book content, cover images, or your translations. When you upload your book to KDP, Amazon asks you specific questions like, did you use AI tools in creating text, images, or translations in your book? You must answer honestly. If you ignore this requirement, you may encounter problems like book rejection, account suspension, or they might even remove your already published books. You can use AI strategically while staying compliant. Use AI for research and character background development using ChatGPT or Claude. There's no disclosure needed for that. Use AI for editing support with Grammarly Premium to reduce human editing costs from $50 down to $25 or $30. Hire human writers for all book content. That way you maintain full creative control. Our students mostly use human writers exclusively for their book content and human designers for their book covers. This keeps them compliant and maintains quality that can get those top 100 rankings. Speaking of those top 100 rankings, our coach didn't just get lucky. She used a secret weapon that most publishers skip, which is crazy because this is where the real magic happens. Section 5, the marketing weapons. That secret weapon is our trope system. Most publishers think that they can just write a good story and hope for the best. But readers don't just buy books. They buy specific fantasies and emotions. And tropes are the language readers use to find exactly what they're craving. The FPA trope system, our secret weapon. This is where FPA students consistently outperform other self-published authors, and it's why their books stand out, even in competitive niches. As I explained earlier, a trope is an intriguing plot element or story theme that makes the story shine. We have theme-based tropes like girl next door falls in love with her neighbor, or a businesswoman hires a new assistant and they fall in love. And we have character tropes like sexy fireman, grumpy billionaire boss, sexy nanny, etc. But here's the secret sauce. When it comes to tropes, we follow a success formula. We recommend you pick 6 or more tropes for every single book. 4 should be recurring tropes that appear in every book because this creates brand consistency for your pen name. Then add 2 to 3 unique tropes per book for variety. For example, say your recurring tropes were billionaire, boss, enemies to lovers, and single dad. Every book would feature a billionaire boss male character who starts as enemies with the female lead and is also a single dad. Then you'd add unique tropes like forced proximity or a surprise pregnancy for each specific book. This system works because you're only using tropes that are trending in the bestseller lists. You don't want to try to be unique. You want to give readers exactly what they're already buying. So spend some time researching the top 100 books in your niche, identify which tropes appeared over and over, then use some of those same winning tropes. Now, remember how I said that tropes guide your title, your cover design, your blurb, and everything else? Your blurb is what converts browsers into buyers. This is the blurb formula we recommend you follow to hook your readers. Our coach used our FPA secret blurb writing formula for every book, and this might be the most important quality control step. We break blurbs into 3 parts: headline, conflict, and cliffhanger. The headline should be intriguing and shocking. This is your opportunity to draw readers in. Your goal is to have the reader feel compelled to click read more and expand to the rest of the description. The conflict section describes the characters in an exciting way, and it creates drama from the first chapter without giving away the story. You introduce the characters while working in as many tropes as possible, matching the emotion of your niche. The cliffhanger leaves the audience in suspense, so you give people just enough that they think, I need to read this book to find out what happens. We recommend writing blurbs at least 10 times. It's like building muscle at the gym. You have to perform many reps before you get it right, but this one skill can determine whether your book succeeds or fails. Once you have your tropes and your blurb figured out, then you can tackle the cover. Don't just tell your designer, make me a romance cover. You actually need to do specific research to ensure your $50 covers look like they belong in the top 100, which is why the first step to designing your covers is to find out which ones actually convert. To do this, go to your niche's bestseller list and screenshot covers from book rankings in positions 1 to 20. Then identify the visual patterns. What fonts did they use? What colors dominated? What poses or imagery appeared repeatedly? Then tell your cover designer to model these successful covers. Say, I want my covers to fit the visual patterns readers expect in this niche. Romance readers expect certain fonts, colors, and layouts. Don't try to be creative. Fit the pattern first. The goal is to make sure your cover looks similar to the top sellers in your category. When readers browse, they should feel like your book belongs with the bestsellers that they're already considering. This research-first approach is why your $50 covers will be able to perform as well as covers that cost $200 or more. But having perfect tropes, high converting blurbs, and attention grabbing covers means nothing if nobody buys. That's where our launch strategy comes in. Our launch strategy is how we make sure that we have readers lined up before our first book even goes live. Section 6. The launch system. This is what FPA students use to consistently outperform other publishers who just cross their fingers and hope for sales. Remember how earlier I said that the strategic time to launch is after your email list hits 1,500 to 2,000 subscribers, and how you should launch around 30 days after you hit that milestone? I mentioned it, but I didn't explain why. You need 30 days because book clicker calendars where you're promoting your books, they fill up fast. BookClicker is the platform that connects authors for newsletter swaps. Think of it as a marketplace where authors can find each other to cross-promote their books through email lists. It's the main tool FPA students use for free marketing. The best newsletter swap partners book weeks in advance. If you try to plan a launch with only a week's notice, you'll be stuck with whatever leftover promotional spots nobody else wanted. Our coach planned her December 15th launch in mid-November, which gave her time to book quality swaps with engaged audiences. Speaking of newsletter swaps, this is one of the FPA's secret weapons and it's completely free. She joined BookClicker with just 1,500 subscribers and immediately started booking newsletter swaps with other authors. When it comes to newsletter swaps, the conversion rate matters. Based on our own and students' experiences, we recommend you aim for results like these. Aim for this conversion rate. With solo swaps, so there's only one book featured in the entire email, there's no other links, you want to look for 2 to 5% of the other author's list downloads to your book. Feature swaps, your book is at the top spot in the email, but the email may contain other books below it. You want to look for a 0.5 to 2% conversion rate. Mention-only swaps, so your book is listed along with several other books in one email. You're going to want to look for 0.1 to 0.5% conversion rate. Solo swaps means there's only one book featured in the entire email with no other links or distractions. For solo swaps, you want around 2 to 5% of their list to download your book. Feature swaps is when your book gets to the top spot in an email that may contain other books below it. So for feature swaps, you want around 0.5% to 2% conversion rate. Mention swaps is when your book is mentioned along with several other books in one email. For mention swaps, you want around 0.1% to 0.5% conversion rate. If you want the best bang for your buck, focus primarily on booking solo and feature swaps because they give you the highest visibility and conversion rates. Then during your launch week, implement this winning strategy. Aim for at least 4 newsletter swaps per day during the first 7 days of your launch. This means booking around 28 newsletter swaps total for that first critical week. Then book a few more throughout the month to keep momentum going after the initial launch period. Why the first 7 days, Carla? Well, Amazon's algorithm pays close attention to how your book performs immediately after launch. Strong sales in the first week can boost your rankings and visibility for weeks afterward. In our coach's case, the compound effect was incredible. Each newsletter swap brought in new readers, and those readers often bought her other books too. By her 4th book launch, she had built enough momentum that the launch practically ran itself. What our coach discovered is that each book makes the previous books perform better. For example, each new book didn't just generate its own royalties, it drove more sales to all the previous books in her catalog. This is the compound effect of building a catalog. And by the time she hit her 3rd book, it was like gasoline poured all over those books. The momentum was incredible. She had to completely rework her release schedule for the rest of the year because the results were so much better than she expected. Her 4th book hit #1 in her category and stayed there for almost 2 weeks, all from newsletter swaps, no paid ads. The more books you publish following this system, the bigger your catalog grows and the more income potential you have. But it all starts with that foundation, the lead magnet, the email list, and the quality controls that ensure every book builds on the success of the previous ones. This case study proves that people spending thousands aren't necessarily doing better than someone with a disciplined $350 budget and the right launch system. The same principles that took this coach from testing with $350 per book to launching successful books are the same principles that took me from broke yoga teacher to building a thriving business that's transformed my life. If you're ready to think bigger than just publishing a few books and build a business that has the potential to create new opportunities for you, click the link in the description. The transformation happens when you stop thinking like someone who's trying to earn a few extra dollars and start thinking like a business owner who's building something that can change your life. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.